Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Monday night Facebook Live. My name is Laura Betts. I am founder and facility director of Hyperbaric RX here in South Florida, and I am the oxygen lady herself. And tonight, I'd like to do a little bit more of a deep dive, a little bit more on hyperbaric education, and answer some questions. In fact, one of the most common questions that we receive, and again, give you a little bit more education and information on how to navigate some aspects of the industry. So it shouldn't be surprising to learn that not all hyperbaric chambers reach the same pressure. So a common question that we receive here is, do you have hard chambers versus soft chambers? And historically speaking, soft chambers have considerably lower working pressures. That means treatment capabilities. So I've done some earlier videos where I've talked about dosage. And three most important things in hyperbaric medicine are dosage, dosage, and dosage. I've talked about how pressure and dosage are not interchangeable. And tonight I'm talking specifically about the importance of a proper pressure capability because it's necessary in order to deliver clinical hyperbaric dosages. And not surprisingly, here at Hyperbaric RX, that's exactly what we do. So again, our topic tonight is how high the hyperbaric chambers go, and I'll talk specifically about the hard PVHO ASME cleared hyperbaric chambers that we use here at Hyperbaric RX. We actually have 5 configurations here. And of course, if you hadn't had an opportunity to come by our facility for a facility tour, we encourage you to do that. And of course, check out some of our pictures online. For those of you that are listening to this on the replay or listening to one of my videos for the first time, again, let me just take a moment and introduce myself. Again, I am founder and facility director of Hyperbaric RX down here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And my personal narrative, my personal hyperbaric miracle is under our videos. And it's what led me to found this very clinic here. I do sit on a couple of medical boards. And one of them, I'm a longtime member of the Dandy Diving and Hyperbaric Medical Board. I'm also Vice President of Substance Abuse Programming and Protocol Integration for the International Hyperbaric Medical Foundation. We are a ANDI training and research site here, in addition to being an ANDI certified hyperbaric facility. So we have cutting edge information to share with you, as well as the latest in hyperbaric research and protocols. So I've done some topics just to keep you up. Last topic, I did talk about air not being the same as oxygen. Again, hyperbaric medicine is somewhat unique and a bit obscure. It's got its own set of rules. Its foundation in diving medicine. If you don't have experience in diving medicine, treating scuba diving injuries, a lot of the information doesn't translate through. And because of that, because of ignorance, because of lack of education, there's a lot of terminology that really means very different things that unfortunately is used interchangeably. And if you are an end user, if you're a consumer listening to this and you're thinking about hyperbaric oxygen therapy, it's important that you get answers to these questions. Now, this is also another reason to choose an ANDI certified hyperbaric facility. And in addition to being an ANDI training and research site, Hyperbaric RX is an ANDI certified hyperbaric facility, and we have certified chamber operators on staff. I've done quite a few videos where I've talked about many of the benefits. There really are some differences here, and certain things that you would assume to be true outside of an ANDI facility are often not the case. For example, like using oxygen. So again, just some great information for you. I do also want to share that Hyperbaric RX was founded out of my own personal healing journey, out of my own personal experiences. And as a result, we are the first and only holistic hyperbaric center of its kind. I'm actually combining 2 modalities, hyperbaric oxygen therapy and quantum nutrition testing, both of which have saved my life. Everything we do here is something that I have personal experience with, and we have a very unique combination of modalities to create an optimal opportunity for efficacy. And again, this is holistic health, no side effects. This is restoring the body's regenerative mechanisms. So if you've been struggling with symptoms, if you've been told, quote, there's nothing you can do, if you are tired of the drugs, if you're tired of the poisons and the potions, then I encourage you to reach out to us and see what we have there for you. All right, so very, very good that way. And again, we've got some really neat discounted dive packages and wellness programs to best meet your needs and help you to rebalance your health naturally. So again, getting back into tonight's topic. So in the world of hyperbaric chambers, originally there was a distinction between soft-sided chambers and hard chambers. And there was an assumption that your soft-sided chamber was a 4 psi working pressure chamber, and your hard chambers were somewhere along the lines of 3 ATA. That's about 30 psi working pressure. So the common consideration there was, so the common consideration, the question we used to get is, do you have hard chambers and do you have soft chambers? And when we say hard chamber, then the person calling on the phone is assuming that the facility is offering clinical dosages. But that's not necessarily the case. One of the things that has happened is the market has unfortunately had some uncertified, unlicensed medical devices that have kind of made its way into the arena. And some of these devices are coming through unscrupulous shipping channels. Customs would not allow them into the country if they knew that they were there. And these chambers, while they are technically hard chambers, they could have a working pressure as low as 7.5 psi, and it could be as high as 15 psi. So the question now of do you have hard chambers, do you have soft chambers, is no longer good enough. Now, not only do you need to know if they have clinical hyperbaric chambers, if they have PVHO ASME certified chambers, but you also need to know if they're using oxygen. Because unfortunately, in the hyperbaric industry, the good news is a lot of people are not getting hurt. Regulation is reactive, so they're not enforcing much of the regulation. But that's also the downside, because while people aren't necessarily getting hurt, they're not getting any opportunity for efficacy. So what we're ending up with is a very negative data model about the hyperbaric industry. We're getting an awful lot of it didn't work, it doesn't work, and some variations and changes in there. Now, again, Hyperbarics RX is an ANDI certified hyperbaric facility. And one of the neat things about being an ANDI certified hyperbaric facility is it is a voluntary accreditation process. It means things like our chamber operators are certified. It means that our equipment is meeting healthcare facility code standards. There's a whole long list of things, and it essentially means that we're doing clinical hyperbaric oxygen therapy with proper protocols, and we're not using common terminology in place. Now, again, we have PVHO ASME approved chambers, and that's a fancy term for pressure vessel for human occupancy, and that is the safety standard. And the safety standard for pressure vessels is very extensive, and it's been around for a long time. There's never been a field catastrophic failure of a PVHO ASME certified chamber. It really does mean something in regards to safety. And the safety standard, even the windows have safety standards and testing. The material, they do metallurgy testing. The tolerances, there are extensive engineering calculations that go behind this. And being able to pressurize something once is a very different thing than putting that medical device into clinical operation to do something over and over again for an extended period of time. Now, another reason why you want to consider choosing an ANDI certified hyperbaric facility is ANDI as an organization has a 34-year perfect safety record in over 60 countries. There's never been an incident or accident at an ANDI certified hyperbaric facility. There's never been a training incident or accident during an ANDI diver training program. And that's a heck of a safety standard. And part of that is because we're following the rules and because we provide training and education to our individual staff members and our facilities and our sites. And we're just working with a lot more data, which ultimately translates to a much better job for you. It ultimately translates to a better opportunity for efficacy. We're not using terminology interchangeably, and we sure as heck are using clinical dosages to create that best opportunity for efficacy. Now, Hyperbarics RX is a non-emergency hyperbaric facility. So our dosage capabilities, now again, dosage and pressure are not the same thing. We have clinical ASME PVHO hyperbaric chambers. They are monoplace, one person hyperbaric chambers. And these chambers have rated working pressures for about 30 psi, 29.4, 3 ATA is the rating on that. And that is different than dosages. Now, we do non-emergency hyperbaric medicine here, so we wouldn't be treating an unconscious scuba diver, for example. We wouldn't be working with somebody who was unconscious from, for example, smoke inhalation, carbon monoxide poisoning. So in those cases, those protocols are a little higher, 2.8. Again, we do non-emergency hyperbaric medicine, so we are trained and equipped for protocols up to 2.6 ATA. So again, awful lot of ranges there. Most of your clinical protocols for anti-inflammatory, neurological repair, infectious diseases, even stem cell mobilization are somewhere 2.2 to 2.5. And 2.0 is very common for general hyperbaric applications. It overlaps on a lot. And then, of course, your neurological protocols and some of your other specific immune disorders and so on have some other target dosages, which again is another reason why you want to choose an ANDI certified hyperbaric facility as well. So I hope this gave you a little bit of insight into how high our hyperbaric chambers go and to give you an idea of some questions that you need to ask. Again, just hard versus soft chambers is no longer enough in choosing a clinical site. It is very, very possible that you could have a 7 psi working pressure hard chamber. And that chamber very likely has no certifications. It has no safety testing, and that's a problem. You know, the chambers that we have here weigh thousands of pounds. So when you have something that's supposed to be the same thing and it only weighs a few hundred, that's a lot less in material. That's a lot less in steel. So when you have something where they're using such thinner walls, such less material overall, that's a big difference there in construction material. So something to consider. Believe me, if we could do this a little differently and we didn't need these big pieces of equipment, I would be the first person to do it. But proper clinical hyperbaric medicine, if it's so great, how come everybody doesn't do it? And one of those very specific reasons is because it requires some equipment to do it right. It requires some infrastructure. So how high the chambers go is very, very important. And if you are considering hyperbaric oxygen therapy, I encourage you to reach out to our facility to discuss a personalized dive plan. I've done some other videos on what a personalized dive plan is and aspects of a proper hyperbaric protocol. So I encourage you to check them out. As always, it has been amazing sharing some information with you this evening. My name is Laura Betts. Again, I am founder and facility director of Hyperbarics RX here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Again, we are the first and only holistic hyperbaric center of our kind, and I encourage you to reach out. We have some of the highest efficacy models in the country. I will also add that I'm going to be speaking at a conference in December called Quantum Leap, and we do have that listed on our Facebook page, and it is an amazing holistic hyperbaric conference. It's going to be in Orlando, Florida, second week in December, so I encourage you to check that out and join us there. Again, as always, we do lives every Monday at 6 o'clock, and I look forward to seeing you on our next stream. So thank you very much. This has been the Oxygen Lady. Safe and happy diving.